to Talking with Turo.
Mr. Robb. It's good to have you, man. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Thank you for having me this evening.
Of course, dude.
It's a pleasure to be on Talking with Turo.
Yeah, dude, I'm excited, man. I have a lot of questions for you. I know that you're a veteran when it comes to interviews yourself, so please don't judge me too hard. This is my first time. But so one thing I wanted to start with is where did it all begin with Robb's Metalworks?
It all began just because I'm a heavy metal fan. I've always been just a fan. Mm-hmm. And, you know, when I was a kid, I have an older brother, and he's 7 years older than me, and he used to jam, you know, Judas Priest and Saxon and Triumph and Montrose and Meatloaf and, you know, all these bands in the house all the time. And so I got acclimated to heavy music early on, and you know, there were certain bands of the ones that he would play that I really loved, like Priest and Triumph and Rush. And when I got older, and I was in middle school, like 7th grade, that's when Metallica came out, and then it was over.
Oh,
that was like the new breed of metal, and I was a huge Metallica fanatic. I still am.
Since that day, like
since that time. I mean, and you know, this is obviously pre-internet, pre-internet.
Yeah, that's right.
So the way that we found out about metal bands was either through friends, magazines, and that was it. And I had this friend of mine. His name was Gabe Garza, and he was a rocker like me. And one day he said, "Robb," this is in middle school, he said, "come to my house after school, man." And I can't say on camera why he wanted me to go to his house.
Just to hang out.
Yeah, just to hang out. And he had an older brother who was a heavy metal guy, and he played guitar in a band called Wicked Impact.
Nice.
And he was cool, dude. His brother was really cool. He had like long curly hair, and he just looked cool. And we're hanging out, and his brother comes in, and we had a boom box, and he said, "Check this shit out," and he threw on Metallica Ride the Lightning.
Oh, dude!
And he played For Whom the Bell Tolls for us.
Okay.
And that was it. And I was like, "What the hell is this?"
That's
so I remember, like, after the song finished, I pulled the cassette out and was looking at it, and I was like, Metallica. And that was it, man. It was over. That was the beginning of me being a fan of the new wave of British heavy metal at that time.
And you said you were in 7th grade?
Yeah, 7th grade.
Dude, my dad, he had a cassette, and I was like 12 or 13, right? And I told you, like, growing up, I wasn't too familiar with a lot of metal, but the first cassette I ever heard from Metallica was Kill 'Em All. Dude, I loved it. And I love it to this day, dude. Yeah. It's fucking sick as fuck, man.
Yeah, dude.
I love it so much. So from there, so it was 7th grade, and it was the album Ride the Lightning, but it was the cassette, right?
Yeah, it was a cassette.
So ever since then, after that, like, what established or paved the way for Robb himself to, like, just start doing the interviews after 7th grade?
Well, I was a fan all the way up through, you know, high school. And I remember when I was a freshman, my mom had sent me to go live with my dad because I was being bad. And I went to Marshall High School. Yeah. I went to Marshall High School, and that year, Master of Puppets came out.
Ooh, okay.
I was 15 years old. Master of Puppets came out, and me and my friends in the neighborhood jammed Master of Puppets all the time. And I used to have this friend. His name was David Lopez. He was a really cool dude. And he had this mother, like, his mom was, like, hot. so like, his mom was always gone, dude. Like, she was always out on dates.
Yeah.
And so it was just him and his mom. So his mom would go out, and we'd be like, yeah,
party, right?
We had his whole house
music,
to party.
Oh, dude, that's awesome.
Yeah, and his mom would say, I might come home tonight. I might not.
Nope.
No, she ain't coming home. So we'd invite everybody to his pad, party. We jam Ride the Lightning, Master of Puppets over and over and over again. That's all we jammed over and over and over again.
Yeah.
But of course, after that, Anthrax started getting big, and then Megadeth, and all these other second wave of thrash bands came out, and we were jamming to like Death Angel and SOD and all these other bands. But after that, after my freshman year, I went back to live with my mom, and I went to Holmes High School.
Okay.
And stayed a fan. And after high school, I graduated. One of them. I'm going to share something, and this is a little personal.
No, go ahead, man.
Kind of like really at the heart of who I am as a person, and it really hasn't changed too much. I was kind of lucky. I learned early on that if I wanted to succeed in society, that I had to navigate the system.
Yeah.
And I grew up with my mom in a housing project.
Okay.
Yeah. And so when she sent me to go live with my dad, it was kind of weird because my dad had a house and he lived in a subdivision.
Yeah.
It was all new to me.
Yeah.
But I always wanted to get out of the ghetto, get out of the housing project.
Right.
And I was a pretty accomplished singer. I was in choir all through middle school.
What?
Yeah, dude.
That's sick. I didn't know that about you.
Yeah. And I even got I had an audition for the swing choir at Holmes High School. You had to audition to it to get in.
Right.
And I got in the swing choir. And really, the swing choir was for like juniors and seniors, and I was going to be a freshman because they auditioned me as an 8th grader, and I got in.
Dude, that's sick.
And then I also played football too. I was a middle linebacker, and I played football. And when I was a sophomore, when I went to go back to live with my mom, I'm like, I'm back here in the ghetto, and what am I going to do to get out? And so one day I was like, I came home from practice, and my mom was like, Rob, your grades are bad. What happened? And I'm like, Mom, I'm too freaking tired when I come back from practice to do my work.
Yeah.
So one night I just had like an epiphany, and I made the decision. I'm like, I'm going to quit swing choir. I'm not going to be a rock star. I'm going to quit football because I'm not going to be a professional football player. And the only way for me to get out of this ghetto is to get educated.
Yeah.
And so that's what I did.
Yeah.
That's what I did, and I graduated top 10%. I was like number 45 out of like 650 students, class of 89 at Holmes.
Yeah.
And I got admitted, and I went to Baylor University that summer.
Yeah.
Yeah, and by the grace of God. And, it's one thing to be admitted, but it's another thing to get the money.
Yeah. So
thank God we were poor. I got a lot of grants.
And,
And I got loans, and I got work study, and I went. My dad came in one day in August after my graduation. I packed what little shit I had.
Yeah.
And he took me to Waco and dropped my ass off and left. Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Where did he leave you at?
At the dorm.
Oh shit. Okay.
He took me to the dorm. We unloaded my shit and later.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah. So I was a stranger in a strange land, and at that time, Baylor University was like 97% white. There was more African American students there than there were Mexicans. So it was really weird for me. Yeah. So to make a long story short, I still listened to metal. I remember when I was a sophomore in college, 1991, fucking the Black Album came out.
Damn.
And my friends and I would always jam the Black Album. Even though they were Hicks and stuff from the country.
They still liked it?
Yeah, I made them listen to it.
Yeah, dude.
And then, I got a degree in marketing. Oof. And I came back to San Antonio after graduation. I almost moved to Austin. I had a girlfriend at that time who wanted me to move to Austin. And I told her no. And I came back to San Antonio. And I got back into the music scene. and I was checking out all these cool bands. I'm like, man, there's all these fucking cool bands. So I would go to the Showcase Theater and check out bands. And one day I just like, I gotta do something to help promote these bands.
And this was still before pre-internet days, right?
Oh,
like,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
So not trying to go away from your story, but
Yeah.
like you said, so word of mouth was actually a thing. Like word of mouth now was like, hey, share this post, right? But word of mouth back then was literally go spread the word.
Yeah.
Right?
And that's the thing that's a little bit discouraging with what I see in the scene today, because back then it was a community, you know, even though I wasn't friends, like close friends with people I would see at a show.
Yeah.
We were still acquaintances, and we were still both part of this community. So we
cool, man.
respected each other and we loved each other.
Yeah.
And we would talk about, you know, Machine Head or whatever, whoever we
Nice.
were there to see. And there was a sense of community. And now, because of the internet, you know, and it was just the metal community. Now there's so many different subgenres of metal. Everybody's in their own little subgenre.
Yeah.
And because of, you know, the way that we can communicate now, there's a little less sense of community and brotherhood now than there was back then.
Do you think because of the internet days that kind of divided everybody, or?
Yeah, I mean, it did, because, again, people were into their own little factions. So, for example, if I was a death metal guy, you know, I just want to be part of and hang out and talk with people who are involved with death metal.
Just death metal,
Yeah, just death metal,
Yeah.
not, you know, thrash or hardcore.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Or metalcore.
Yeah, whatever. But, you know, and it's caused people to kind of have their little subgroups and stuff instead of just being one whole
Yeah, you're
thing.
right. You're right.
Yeah. So it was different back then. It was totally different. So you would go to a show and I'd see all the same people there at the show. Like, hey man, good to see you. I saw you 2 weeks ago. Hey, how's it going? Let's grab a beer. Let's talk. Let's hang out. Whatever. And we would have a good time checking out these bands. And then, like I said, you know, one day I'm like, I gotta do something to help promote this scene. And there was only two ways to do that. That was through literature, like a magazine or a fanzine, or public access TV.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
You got to tell me about that, because I remember being a kid watching like Channel 20. I think Channel 20 had like random stuff that was local.
Yeah, it's all local.
That would you call public access channel, which is
public
local,
access
right?
TV, yeah. Channel 20, yeah.
I'll never forget this,
That was
man.
Paragon Cable.
Paragon Cable?
It was called Paragon Cable before Time Warner Cable.
What the fuck? That's crazy, dude. I remember seeing on Channel 20 like random stuff like the Hondo show and then the Ketchup Cave and like what the hell is all this, dude? It's all local. That's crazy. So in order to get into that, like what were the steps to like get your foot in the door?
Well, you know, it was very formal. There was a contract I had to sign, but even before I got to the contract, I had a meeting with the guy who was the head of public access. His name was Clint Weir, and he worked for Paragon and Time Warner for a long time.
Okay.
So I had to go there and sell him on the show what I was gonna do. He was like, "Okay, Rob, what do you want to do your show on?" I said, "Well, I want to support the music scene here, the heavy metal scene. I want to interview bands and record bands, you know, provide some, you know, articulate commentary on these bands, and so that people can get turned on to them." And he was like, "Okay, that
you sold me
great."
already, bro."
And it was kind of like what you were telling me off camera, Art. He was like, "Okay, well, you have to submit, you know, 7 episodes in advance, and then we'll start airing your stuff."
Wow.
And you know, back then, before very savvy software and laptops,
Right.
we did everything on VHS. So I
was like the big old camcorder, right? The big old huge thing. Like,
well, I had a big camera, and they also had. You could go in there. They also had like a facility. You could go there and edit your show.
what? They let you do that in there?
Yeah.
Where was it located? I mean, don't say the exact
yeah.
location, but was it like downtown or?
No, it was off of Fort. I can tell you where it's. I don't even know if it's there anymore.
It's probably not there anymore.
It's over there. It was off like 410 and like Broadway.
Okay.
They had a small location there.
Dude, that's
so you would
sick.
get there, and then I'd go into my little room, my edit bay, they called it, and there was these 2 huge VCRs, industrial VCRs, and a little like mix board and 2 monitors.
Yeah.
So I would put my tapes in and then edit it that way, dude.
Yeah.
And you know, I would have already shot my commentary, which is something I don't do now. You know, that's one of the differences, that when we moved from TV to internet, I stopped doing commentary. You know,
when you say commentary, like what do you mean? Like
when I would do a show on public access,
yeah,
I would be like, "Hey, this is Robb Metalworks. Welcome to the show. Tonight we're gonna have Nevermore and Life of Agony and blah de blah." So I would welcome people and talk to them about the bands. Whereas now and then I would say, "Oh, now we're gonna watch this interview that I did with so and so." I don't do that anymore.
Now you have an intro, right? The animation intro.
Yeah, the animation, and then we go straight.
So I guess
into
there's no need into that for that no more, right?
I guess not. I mean, it's also too. I mean, the people, the audience too has changed.
Yeah,
Yeah. People's attention span isn't that
30 seconds.
Yeah, it's like 30 seconds, and then a full-on production like that. I don't want to make the videos too long. My interviews are long enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, that was what we did. And one thing that people don't, that there's the old schoolers out there will remember, is that our show when we first started would air every week. It was a 30-minute show every week.
Not bad.
And for the first 7 years of Robb's Metalworks, I did a brand new show every week. Never aired a rerun. Never in 7 years.
For 7 years?
For 7 years, every week we had a brand new show. And so, like, I would get messages, like I would get an email. Back then, we only had email.
Right. It was
and
probably like
someone
Yahoo
would say,
or something, right? Yeah.
Yeah, like, Robb, I missed the episode with, Black Label Society. And I said, I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry. You should have.
No going back.
You should have told the wifey to record it on the VCR, because you're never gonna see it again.
Yeah.
I never aired a rerun in 7 years.
Wow, dude.
Yeah, dude.
Was that a personal choice, or is just
it was a marketing strategy. See, that was the thing too. It was like,
dude, that's good thinking.
The dude who fucking missed the episode, he'll never miss another episode again. Yeah,
because he'll keep tuning in now.
Yeah, he's going to say, I don't want to miss it because I can't fucking...
Brilliant.
I'll miss it forever.
Yeah.
It's not like nowadays, and we can talk about that transition too, but at that time, it was like, I'm not going to share any reruns, so people are going to tune in, they're going to record, they're going to fucking watch it. Mm-hmm. That was one of the marketing strategies that I employed. And remember, I learned all this stuff in school, so I was applying. I wasn't just
all your knowledge.
Yeah, all my know-how. I wasn't just fucking putting on a show and hoping that it stuck on the wall. We did a lot of shit to market and promote Robb's. Yeah, a lot of stuff.
And it was always called Robb's Metalworks since day one.
Oh yeah, and let me tell you something that's very important, because there's people. Of course, who've been with me for decades, and there's people who are new to Robb's, and I kind of subliminally said this on my Facebook, and I'm like, Robb's Metalworks is not a fucking metal news site. You're not gonna go to Robb's Metalworks to find out what bands are coming to San Antonio. Okay, we don't just repost and share heavy metal news. Okay, if you want that, you can go to blabbermouth.net or you can go to bravewords.com. That's not what it is. We're not sharing other people's news. We're making our own news. We make our own content. And that's why I called it Robb's Metalworks, because the bands that you're going to see on Robb's are bands that I'm a fan of, and bands that I think people who watch Robb's and follow Robb's are also going to dig.
So when you say that, dude, that it wasn't just a site to hear about the metal bands, like what do you mean for Robb's Metalworks?
Yeah, I mean, we're not a news site. I called the show Robb's Metalworks because these are bands that I like. I mean, I don't I don't diss bands. I'm not going to put a band that I don't like on Robb's. And if I don't like them, like, why do you think my viewers are going to like them? You know?
Yeah, I feel you.
And I have people, I've had people for years telling me, oh man, you turned me on to Propane. You turned me on to Iced Earth. You turned me on to Life of Agony.
Yeah, okay.
You know, so we were getting, and I dug these bands, and I was, you know, sharing all of this with people who were watching it, and they were digging it. But again, it wasn't just we're just not a conduit for sharing heavy metal news.
Okay.
There's a lot of other sites that do that.
Yeah.
So at the same time, not only sharing the bands we like, but working with the bands that we like. I mean, all the bands I just mentioned, I've interviewed all those bands.
Dude, so that's the next question I had. So you put your foot in the door, you got into the network before Time Warner Cable. They approved you for the shows. Mm-hmm. So now the next question that I have is, what came after that? How did you get your interviews with these bands?
Yeah.
How did you reach out to them? Like,
yeah. Well, you know, the local bands, of which I still support 25 years later.
So you
loved it. Yeah, I started locally.
Local, okay.
Interviewing local bands, Las Cruces and Bifist, all these old San Antonio bands.
Nice.
And they loved it because they were, you know, getting publicity and more people were learning about them and stuff like that. It was great. And that's something that I really pride myself on. You know, later on when we talk about what's happening in 2020, all the bands that I've interviewed this year, and I've done 25 interviews in 2020, despite, you know, as tumultuous as it's been.
Not bad.
They're all local regional bands, all of them. And I made a promise to do that in 2019, but we'll talk about that later.
For sure.
But if you're talking about the signed bands, you know, bands that national bands, worldwide bands.
Yes.
It took a while to kind of build the relationship with the record labels at that time.
Oh.
Back then, you would go to the record label. And I say that because at that time, the record labels each record label had their own publicity department.
Like a PR?
Like publicity. So the people that worked in publicity, their job is to get their bands into magazines and to get them interviews and all that stuff. So after a while, when the labels would find out, oh, Robb's Metalworks is on Time Warner Cable, you know, they would say, how many homes has Time Warner Cable hit? And I would say 400,000. We're in the greater San Antonio area.
Jesus.
Yeah, that's how many subscribers they had.
Wow.
So I said, if you're a subscriber to Time Warner Cable, you can watch Robb's. So that's 400,000 people.
Yeah.
So like, fuck yeah, all right, let's get you an interview. Mm-hmm. And so that's how you legitimately do it. And then the publicist, whoever it was, would say, okay, PR. Robb, this is who you need to go down to the show at this time. This is who you need to contact. This is their cell number.
Yeah.
They'll hook you up with the band member, and then you do your thing. And I did that for decades.
Dude, that's so sick.
Yeah.
And you interviewed everybody from give me some names, give me some bands.
Danzig, Megadeth, Lacuna Coil, AFI, Henry Rollins, Alter Bridge, Anthrax, As I Lay Dying, Death Angel, Il Nino, OTEP, Behemoth, you like some black metal, Sepultura, Lamb of God, Ronnie James Dio.
Oh man, dude, that is awesome.
Zakk Wylde, Cannibal Corpse, Prong, Machine Head, Phil Anselmo, Exodus, Queensryche, Trivium.
Oh, do you had Trivium go to?
Oh, yeah.
So would they go to your house now, or was it a different place back then?
Back then, we would go to we were at the venue.
Oh, at the venue. Yeah. Oh, you would take your mic and all that stuff, right?
Back then, we were out on the street, bro. And because that was at a time when we were still building Robb's.
Yeah, building a brand, right?
Yeah, we were still building the brand of Robb's. Now, 25 years later, even way before, like 10 years ago, I already had all the publicists. Because, too, this is something that people don't realize. These people that work in the industry, they all know each other.
Yeah.
No matter if they're in New York, L.A., New Jersey, no matter where the fuck they're at, they all know each other.
Yeah.
And so they'll be like, hey, who do you have a contact in Texas? And like, Robb's Metalworks.
Yeah.
And so
it spread.
Yeah. So
Dude,
now,
it's so sick.
Now, I mean, I get 20 emails a day from publicists.
Yeah.
All different types of publicists.
Yeah.
20 emails a day. And some of the bands that they're pimping, I don't know anything about.
Right.
And then some of them I do.
Yeah.
Some of them I do. And, if I'm interested, they'll say like, Rob, you want to interview Ted Nugent? And I'm like, yeah, I want to interview him. When is he coming?
Dude.
And we set it up that way. And but now I don't have to go search for anything. It all drops on my lap, and then I get to pick and choose what I want to do.
One thing that I like about that is that the reason why you have all this history of these bands that you interviewed is because you actually did the work.
Yeah.
And you did the hustle, man.
Yeah.
So this is something I brought up in my other episodes too, is like nothing's gonna fall in your lap. You gotta actually like do the footwork and contact, and do and you did, man. Like back in the day, like you went to the program editor and all that shit. Like that's awesome, dude.
People don't realize all the back end work that you got to do. Like people
yeah.
don't realize, how we set up this interview.
Mm-hmm.
People don't realize like, don't
what
know
it
that
takes.
they don't know that I did 2 hours of research on the band even before I met them.
Yeah.
So I know everything about them. And that was the research. Not only people are like 2 hours. That's not even that long. And that's because I'm already a fan. I already know about their records. I know everything about Trivium.
But you wanted to be thorough though.
Yeah, I want to be thorough.
Yeah.
And have dates and shit.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say, oh yeah, your record that came out 2 years ago.
Like, what is it called again?
Yeah, exactly. But they don't know that I do my research. You know? They don't know everything that we're doing on the marketing side either. One of the things too, like back in the public access days, at the end of the show, at my closing credits, I used to put my address and my phone number.
Really?
Yeah. And my wife at that time would get pissed off because people would be calling the house. The show would end like at 11:30.
Yeah.
And people were blowing up our phone till like 2 a.m.
Hey man, can you interview us too?
No, they were just like, Rob, we're fans, bloody blah. Yeah, I loved it.
Dude, that's so sick.
They just loved it. Yeah. And then, but the thing was, every time, when someone would call, and sometimes they were fucked up, whatever, and they would be like, Rob, I just saw your show, Rob. I just saw it. I loved it. And so I'd let them, whatever, talk. Mm-hmm. And then before I got off the phone with them, I would say, what's your name? Can I have your email address?
Nice.
And what's your zip code where you live? And so after several years, I accumulated a huge database of people. and so I created an email distribution list. So I said I would email my fans every week.
What would you email them though? Like
I would email them and tell them, hey, don't forget to watch Rollins this Saturday. We're gonna have Nevermore and fucking whatever on.
That's fucking smart as fuck, man.
And then when I would do a analysis of who these people were and where they were from, they were predominantly males, Hispanic males, and most of them were from the south side of San Antonio. Okay. Most of them were not, we had fans all over, but most of the bulk, most
of the audience,
75% of my audience was from the south side of San Antonio.
South side.
Yeah, dude. So, we would do shit I did shit like that.
Yeah.
And then, I'd be out every fucking weekend. I'd work all week and then go out on the weekends and work all weekend. And, I have to give, I never forget this, but my son, who's 22 years old now, my son at that time was, very young. He was like 5 years old. Okay. And my wife at that time, Esther, I'd tell her, hey, I got to go do an interview Friday and Saturday.
What would she say? No, go ahead, go do your thing.
She supported me, bro.
Dude, that's good, man.
She supported me. She's like, that's your thing. That's your outlet. It's going to keep you sane. Go do it. Go do it.
Yeah. Because you were being productive. It's not like you were going off to go fuck off. You know what I mean? Like you were doing something that was genuinely like building towards a bigger goal.
Well, she would watch the show. We'd watch the show. We'd watch the show every week.
Dude, that's so awesome.
We'd sit down together and like, Rob's coming. And it was so cool back then because it was TV.
Yeah.
And then you'd wait for it to come on. It was cool. It was cool.
That's cool, dude. So when you would do these interviews, Like, obviously, like, of course, you were cool with everybody locally because being Robb. But, like, with the national artists, like Henry Rollins and stuff like that, like, would you be able to hang out with them too? Or was it just like, oh, thank you for the interview. I'll catch you later, or, you know?
Yeah. Well, one of the things that I would always tell my guy, I always had my camera guy, obviously, with me. And I would tell him, look, when we're done working, when we're done with the interview, pack our shit and let's get the fuck out. They don't want us there.
Yeah, you're
Let's
right.
just do our business and get out.
Yeah.
And we would do that. However, a lot of times, bands are like, Rob, hang out, man. It's cool.
Dude, that's fucking sick.
Fucking, I remember when Glenn Danzig told me to hang out after our interviews. He said, oh, man, you don't have to leave to hang out.
He said that to you?
Yeah.
All nonchalant, right? Like, hey, dude, chill, man.
We talked about wrestling. He's a big wrestling fan. We talked about, he says, hey, Rob, did you hear about the new Spider-Man movie coming out? So we talked about Spider-Man. Phil Anselmo, too, from Pantera. He's like, Rob, hang out.
Dude.
I remember he had a big bag of weed about this big. He pulled it out of his backpack.
He's like, hey, man.
He's like, man, hang out, Rob. I'm like, all right, man. And he and I he's into like really heavy shit. So he was talking to me about all these European fucking death metal bands and grindcore bands. And yeah, dude, so many of these dudes. And this is the thing too. This is the thing too. I've interviewed these guys more than once. They know me. It's not like they're strangers.
So you're considered a friend at this point.
They already know me. They know I'm legit.
That's sick, dude.
And that comes with longevity.
Yeah.
And consistency.
Yeah, yeah.
And they know if Rob, see, that was the thing too, and I don't think we mentioned this earlier, but when I would interview, you know, my interview was, the main goal of any interview is to promote the record.
Yes.
Okay? Promote what the band and what they're doing. And I always did that.
Yeah.
There was a benefit for them to
both
interview
parties,
with Rob.
right?
Yeah.
For both parties, yeah.
I got content and they got promo.
Yeah.
And we did it, and on top of all that, we did it in a very articulate, intelligent way. We always treated metal like an art form. This wasn't just some fucking, you know, music that, you know, some stoner kid is listening to in his bedroom. This is real music, and to play, you know, thrash metal, to play a guitar solo like Kirk Hammett or Gary Holt takes a lot of musical skill.
Yeah, it does.
Okay, so that's the way that we treated it, and people liked it.
Yeah.
And enjoyed it. You know, there's people who've said that, yeah, I want to interview with Rob again because I like his interviews. Joey Vera from Armored Saints told me that.
Nice.
And you know who's told me that?
Who?
Scott Stapp, the singer from Creed. Yeah, when I interviewed him.
You interviewed him?
Oh, yeah.
Dude.
Oh, yeah, Scott Stapp from Creed.
Dude, like,
his wife emailed me, and they were coming back to San Antonio, and I think they did a show at the Alamo City Music Hall. And Scott's wife told me, Scott loves to interview with you. So when can we do it? And I'm like, right, well, I'll be there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No questions asked. I'll be there.
I'll be there.
Right
I'll be there. So yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. It's like the consistency. You know, we've been working. In 2018, I did 45 interviews in 2018.
Nice, dude.
And in 2019, I only did 12 interviews, and that was because I made an announcement about this on the page.
No, I remember.
And that was because I started my second master's degree.
Yeah.
And I knew I was going to be busy with that.
Oh, yeah.
So I only did 12, and then I had promised for 2020 that I was going to come back with a bullet, and that was the plan until COVID, which really kind of hindered us. So.
Oh, yeah, hindered everybody, man.
Yeah, I know. So, I mean, I think the last interview I did this year was in the middle of October with Shattered Sun, and that's number 25.
Nice.
Yeah. So, I mean, in that, staying that busy, you know, and being consistent, it's not easy.
Yeah.
People get tired.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if you really have a true passion for what you're doing and look at your work.
You fight through that tiredness, man.
Yeah, you got to. You got to. But the passion, just even though you might be tired, but the passion keeps you going.
Oh, yeah, for sure, man. Like one thing that I'll mention is that right now with Marie Laveau, we're kind of like in a free fall with the new music because everyone's got their own thing going on.
Mm-hmm.
But I try to keep the train going, and Roy's mentioned that too, dude. He's like, dude, I appreciate that you keep the ship going. Like I'm the captain, right? Like I keep it going. Like they fall asleep, I'm like, nah, come on, wake up, man. But yeah, dude, you're right. Like if you believe in something enough, like it doesn't matter what kind of obstacles you have, like you're just gonna keep doing it,
Right.
you know. And one thing that Miguel mentioned was that he's like, dude, like it was my dream to be on Robb's Metalworks, like because I guess he's known you since like the early days, like kept up with it, man. So
I've had a lot of musicians say that.
Really?
Yeah, the singer from Remanon and I remember what he said. The guy, I remember. I don't know if you know that guy.
I do. Yeah,
Nate. His name's Nate.
Yeah, we played with him at Imagine Books and Records, and then I know he does Third Eye for Tool, and then for
guy.
Incubus.
Yeah, so that guy,
cover bands.
He came from cover bands, and then he crossed over into original music, and then that's one of the things too. Like I don't interview cover bands, and he crossed over and he first played with a band called Aperture. And most of the dudes in that band were from Austin, and they released a record. It was an amazing record. I still listen to that record.
Yeah.
And then he got into another original band called Remanon, and I remember they had sent me the record, and I was jamming, and it was great. And then they had a gig. They were opening up a gig at Aztec Theater.
He's played there a lot, dude.
And he told me, I think this was the first, when I interviewed him, I think it was the first time, because he had said, Robb, dude, I'm playing Aztec Theater. This would be a great opportunity for us to interview.
Dude, that's it.
And I said, you're right. You're right. So we went down to the Aztec and we interviewed them. And it was the first time he'd ever been on Robb's. The only time he's ever been on Robb's. And the first thing that he said, probably within the first 3 minutes of the interview, when I was just welcoming them, he said, I can't believe I'm on Robb's. It's like a rite of passage in the San Antonio metal scene. It's a rite of passage.
Yeah.
And I just, when people say that, I just kind of smile, and it makes me very proud that they feel that way. Yeah. I'm very happy that people feel that way because, that's the thing too. And this is also a marketing strategy. I'm sharing all my fucking secrets with all the youth out there.
Oh my goodness.
This is a secret. And
pay attention.
There's bands. I get tons of shit. I get Facebook messages all the time.
Oh yeah.
Emails all the time of bands saying, Robb, check out our stuff. Robb, we'd love to interview with you. Robb, can you promote our single? I've had bands tell me, Robb, how much? I'll drop you $3 to interview my band.
Not bad.
And I'm like, dude, that's not how it works.
Yeah.
And I tell all those dudes, send me your music, let me listen to it. And if I like it, we'll work it out and you'll be on Robb's. And if I don't like it, then keep working.
No, dude, I agree with you when it comes to that, man. And it's not that like that you hate the music. Right. It's just you want to see if they're professional enough to present them. You're just
some of these bands, they're just not ready yet.
Yeah.
You just can't put out a fucking EP and say, okay, I'm going to be on Robb's. So even though that has happened, there are some special bands and special musicians who have done that. I don't know if you saw.
No, I didn't.
There's a band called Desolate Blight. The guitar player, he's 19. And this kid is like, his name's Noel. And this kid's like a genius, a mad scientist. And they released their first record and it blew my mind. But I said, let me just make them wait one more record, and I know it's going to be even better. Ooh. And that's what happened. Their second record came out.
Then you were like, yes, let's get you in.
He sent it to me like 2 months before it came out to the public.
Okay.
So all of you bands out there who aspire to be on Robb's, do the same. I like to be in the know before, that way I can talk about your shit. And so when the second record came out, he says, Robb, check it out. We still want to be on Robb's. Are we ready yet? That's what he said. Are we ready? And I heard.
I like how he asked you.
He asked me, and I said, Noel, you're fucking ready, bro.
Beautiful, man.
You're fucking ready. And so I interviewed them about a month or two ago. I can't remember.
Yeah,
great band. But I want to get every San Antonio band on Robb's. But when you're ready,
yeah.
Roger Trevino.
Oh yeah, He's 30.
3 years old.
Dude, he's passionate about it, dude. He's passionate.
And he was like, I've been dreaming about being on Robb since I was 17. And I said, don't say that. You're making me feel old. But it was true when he interviewed on Robb's, and his interview had like 3,400 views like in 3 weeks.
Nice.
And he was like, dude.
Me and Roger did a cover together. I don't know if you saw it. I didn't really promote it too much because I wasn't like big on it. Not because there's anything wrong with it. I was just because I was having fun. But when I had him in here doing the screaming vocals with me, dude, he was excited about everything. He's like, fuck yeah, dude. Fuck yeah. Let's fucking do this. I'm like, dude, I wish everybody was like you. Like, imagine if every artist was like that. Like, yes, let's collab. Let's do this shit. I want this shit right now. It would be awesome. A lot more music would come out, you know?
I think people get jaded because they don't see the success right away. You know, they don't see... nowadays they don't see all the likes or they don't see all the views that they want, and they put so much work into it, and it's not getting the acclaim that they
expected,
that they expect. And that's a downer for them, and so it demotivates them, it demoralizes them, and they lose
courage,
focus. They just lose focus. But you know,
I think that happens with a lot of people, man, especially with me, dude. There was one day where, like, I was thinking, I'm like, man, I don't know if I want to do this podcast, dude. Like, because I eventually want it to be something, but at the same time, like, this is like the baby stage. Like, still a baby, you know? Like, I got to let it, like, grow, you know? And speaking of baby, dude, like, I remember, like, Randy Bonillas, when he put Marilla Vo on the radio, that's when I was like, oh, dude. And one thing that comment that he said, he's like, hey, guys, you know, we got a lot of ugly babies out there. So, like, when you send your submissions, you know, make sure it's not an ugly baby. Like, yeah, you're proud of your baby, but if it's ugly,
well, that's the thing, though, too, is like, you know, beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, so, you know, what might be ugly to him or me could be beautiful to someone else. You know, what could be ugly to him could be beautiful to me. It all depends. You know, we all have our own
opinion,
musical preferences and opinions and things that we like. You know, and that's the thing too. That's why you see when you know those bands that I just called out. That's a huge diversity of metal.
Oh yeah.
You know, it's not just, you know, death or black or thrash. It's all kinds of heavy stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it all.
Yeah, that's one thing I noticed too is you noticed my Circus Survive record, but then even when we went in for the interview for Marilla Vo, like you already knew all kinds of music. So I think that's cool that like you have a taste for everything, and it's not specifically just metal, man.
Right.
So is there a story that you can tell me from any of the artists of the bands that you've chilled with, like crazy story? Like you don't have to say no names.
No.
Don't say no names, but
I don't mind sharing names.
Let me see what you got, bro.
Yeah, you know Chris Bettis?
Yeah.
Selena's widow?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've interviewed him, and we always have a great time. He loves to drink wine. So when he comes over, like we interviewed in 2016, then we interviewed this year, 2020. And I remember for the interview, I went and got 5 bottles of wine for us.
Nice.
And we drink copious amounts of wine and talk off camera, and you know, he shares a lot of his personal life with me. You know, he goes to the East Coast a lot. He has a girlfriend out there. He told me about the hot sauce way before it even came out. Sauce? Yeah, he has a hot sauce. It's,
what?
Dude, it's flying off the shelves at HEB, bro.
Chris Bettis hot sauce?
Yeah. He's talked to me about some of the legal things that he goes through, and, you know, relationships, and we've built a great friendship. But man, I remember one time we stayed up to like 3 a.m. drinking wine, and he was pretty fucked up. And I said, Chris, he was like, I gotta go, Rob. I'm like, okay. I said, are you sure you can drive, bro?
Yeah. He's like, no, I'm cool.
He's like, yeah, Rob, I'm cool. I got it. I'm like, all right, man. I was like, please, God, don't let anything happen.
Yeah, you gotta pray
on my watch.
Yeah.
So that's something very cool. You know, that I've enjoyed knowing him. You know, and you know, a lot of these people, man, that I know. Phil Anselmo, I'm tight with Phil Anselmo.
Yeah.
Every time I see him, he's a joker, dude. That dude, he's a huge joker, and we always have good times. And you know, there's so many people out there that I've enjoyed talking to. I'm really tight with. I used to be really tight back then. Remember, I don't know if you remember God Forbid, the Coyle Brothers, God Forbid from Jersey. One of the things that was cool about them is that they were all black dudes, except the bass player was a white dude, and they were cool, man. And the one of the guitar players, one of the brothers, is the guitar player for Bad Wolves.
Okay.
Yeah, they're kind of big right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, but back in the day, had great relationships with those people. We would go out and eat. I'm good friends with the Death Angel guys from old school thrash metal band from San Francisco. Every time they come into town, we go out and have dinner together. Yeah, that's already like a given. I pick them up when we go out somewhere and have dinner. We've done that for
that's so sick.
Yeah, it's cool, man. Just to hang out as friends.
So, one thing that I mentioned to Andrew in the last episode, dude, was like when you see these big artists, it's like, you keep your cool because you don't want to and the reason why we brought that up is because he said his mom works for a catering company. So he actually delivered food to Flea himself at the AT&T Center.
Oh, yeah.
And when he did,
from Red Hot Chili Peppers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Andrew said that he literally here's your food, sir. And then just walked away.
Yeah.
Didn't react, didn't do nothing.
Yeah.
And I mean, he was telling me, he's like, yeah, they don't like that. Like, obviously they're big enough already. They get it all the time.
Right.
So just deliver the salmon and quinoa and blah, blah, and then just go
Get
the
away. Fuck out.
Get the fuck out. Yeah. But what's crazy, dude, is that he told me he was hearing him slap the bass practicing, and he said even though you heard the music in the AT&T Center, you could still hear the. I was like, yeah, dude, that's awesome. Now, dude, but that's really cool that you were able to get that experience. You've had so much experience in your life, Rob. Like, just for you being you, man, that you've been able to chill with all these artists, dude.
25 years.
Yeah, that's fucking sick.
Well, in June of next year, it'll be 25 years. Next year is going to be a very pivotal year for me because for two reasons. One, I turned 50, which I think is a pivotal year in anybody's life. And then Robb's will be 25 in June. Oh, man. Yeah, so two kind of big anniversaries for me next year.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I don't know how I'm going to celebrate them. Yeah, people are telling me to have a party and stuff.
So how's it been going with the pandemic, man, recently? Like, what you been up to? Like, how's it? I know you've had like limited interviews, not too many people. Keep it like limited, but
yeah. I mean, when the pandemic hit in March, I remember I was scheduled to interview Danella Drive. Oh,
that's right, and you rescheduled.
I called Andrew and I said, "Hey, man, let's just fucking." Everybody was still kind of freaking out. So I said, let's just postpone, not cancel, postpone. And then I think we waited about 6 weeks later. And I said, at that point I was like, all right, man, fuck it.
Yeah.
So I said, just come on in. And so the whole band came on in and we did the interview, and then I haven't stopped since then. Personally, I'm a teacher, so I remember in March, we had spring break, so I had the week off. Yeah. And if somebody would have said, Rob, you're not going to go back on this campus for 6 months, I would have said, you're crazy. But that's what happened, bro. When I went on spring break, I never went back. I never went back.
You're crazy, bro.
Yeah, I never went back. I stayed away. And then the whole transitioning our kids to remote learning or online learning was a fucking nightmare, bro.
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing, man. Nightmare. I'm hearing a lot of people right now are complaining about their kids. It's not really working. Like, they're not doing their work.
They're
fucking off.
I have a class of like 30 kids.
Yeah.
And maybe like 7 of them will turn in their work. Yeah, dude.
Oh, shit, you're a teacher.
Yeah.
You said that a bunch of times. I'm sorry. It's just now hitting me up. Okay. Yeah. Well, you're a teacher. Oh, shit, dude. What do you teach?
Business. I have business degrees with a marketing degree, and then I got I got an MBA from Our Lady of the Lake when I was like 32 or 33.
An aspiring man, Rob Chavez.
Yeah, and now I'm wrapping up the MED so that I can.
What's that?
The Masters of Education, so I can be a principal. I'm doing my principal internship right now. Oh, yeah, dude, it's been crazy. It's crazy.
My goodness, you got a lot of stuff going on, man.
Yeah, it's been busy, but add the pandemic over all that shit.
Yeah.
And
it doesn't really help.
It doesn't help at all. But the weird thing is like, I was talking to a friend of mine the other day. And I said, man, I would have, because part of the internship, I have to be part of certain meetings and trainings
Yeah.
and shit. And now we do everything through Zoom video. I don't have to get up and go somewhere. I can be at home. I can be in my classroom and just zoom in, and I'm still getting the credit, the hours that I need for my internship. So it's kind of, I'm thinking it's kind of easier doing all the Zoom stuff.
Honestly, man, I think it's a double-edged sword, dude. Matter of fact, not trying to go with what you're talking about, but my company just announced that we're going to be working home forever.
Yeah.
We're not going back to the office at all, dude.
Yeah. Well,
and it's kind of like, I'm not trying to talk shit, but like, I don't want to be home all the time, dude. And, I live with my roommate and all that. But hey, man, I prefer the fact that I'm not wasting gas and I don't have to like take a shower and get ready and get dressed, just wake up, roll out of bed, go straight to my computer. But there was another question I was going to ask, dude. I remember when I went over to your place, there was like all these action figures and like obviously the photos of like all the bands. So what? How did you start with the action figures? What started with that? Or
I've always loved action figures ever since I was like a little kid. Yeah, when I was a little kid, like 6 or 7 years old, I always had Star Wars action figures. I had Evel Knievel. I had all kinds of stuff, bro. And I've just always had an infatuation with action figures, all kinds.
Nice.
And I have some stuff that I've had for many decades already. And then I'd see something cool and I wanted, so I just got it. When Pops came out, I started looking at the Pops, and especially when they started making like the heavy metal Pops, you know. Yeah, man, I just love that stuff,
That's cool, dude.
Yeah, I just love it.
I am gonna pull up when I edit this. I am gonna pull up the video because I have a video when Marilla was there, and I got everything like
cool.
Like I got it all on camera, dude. But one thing I did want to ask that I was curious about. Last time I was there, I asked you about the sage that you had.
The what?
And the sage, like when you sage the house and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you, like, have you ever had any experience with, like, spirits or anything like that? Like, because I wanted to get into that, dude, if
yeah, we can talk about that.
Let's talk about it, dude.
Well, first of all, I think it's important. That's kind of like it could be a loaded question, because I think your response to that depends on what you believe spiritually.
Okay.
Like, everybody, when they were children, they were brought up by their parents a certain way.
Right,
whether you're
right.
a Catholic or an atheist or an agnostic.
Different religious
whatever
views.
you are.
Yeah.
Okay. I was brought up strict Catholic. I did my communion. And when I got married through the church. Nowadays, things over the years have evolved for me. I believe in a universal power, whatever people want to call that. Jesus Christ or Allah or Buddha or whatever you want to call
Whatever
it.
name they have for it. Yeah.
There's a universal power, okay, and I do believe in good and evil.
Yes.
And I do believe that there is another dimension where spirits can live.
Yeah.
Also evil spirits.
Oh,
too.
yeah.
But let me tell you, you want to hear a cool story?
Yes.
I've never really
let me hear it,
experienced
man.
anything really freaky.
But let's hear it.
One time, this is when I was at Baylor. I lived in this 2-story studio apartment by myself. Mm-hmm. I think I was already a junior or senior. And there was a group of 4 girls that lived right next door to me. 4 blonde-headed girls that lived right next door. And there was one of them that I was kind of fond of.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a Ouija board. I can't remember where the hell I got it from.
Shit.
Yeah, I had a Ouija board.
What?
And then one night, it was like a Friday or Saturday night. Of course, this was before, we were going out to the bars and shit. And so I told the girl, and I said, hey, come on over and let's do the Ouija board. And so she was like, all right. So she comes over.
Yeah.
She comes over with her friend.
Yeah.
I was like,
let's go to Robb's. He has a Ouija board.
Yeah. So we're in my living room. We dim the lights. I think we put some candles on. And me and her and her roommate were doing the Ouija board.
Yeah.
And I don't remember what we were asking or what we were doing. But I kid you not, that fucking thing started moving by itself, bro.
Oh, why would you fuck with that, Rob?
It started moving by itself.
Yeah.
And it was answering our questions. And then the roommate's friend, she totally freaked out. Like totally got scared. I remember she got up and ran out of my apartment. Like ran out, dude.
Yeah.
Like if she saw a ghost.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the girl that I liked got up and followed her out. And they never came back. They never came back. But I remember I got kind of freaked out too.
You're like, well, what happened?
I was like, damn spirits.
What happened?
And
you ruined my chance.
Yeah, exactly. And I got kind of freaked out too. And I remember, I think that night or the next day, I threw the Ouija board away.
Yeah, good
I threw
call.
it in the trash. Yeah,
good call, man.
Yeah,
no, good call. No, this is something I wanted to bring up too because obviously, like we're talking with Tua, it's a free for all, man. Obviously, we have key points which I brought up, but like that's something I wanted to talk to you about. So there was this one time where it was 5 o'clock in the morning. I was 15, and like I couldn't sleep. So I look out the window, dude, and I peep up, and you hear the blinds, right? And I look up and close the blinds, and I go back to my bed. And then I shit you not, like imagine if that's the corner of my room, right? And you just hear, and I was like, right? And then you hear, and I just put the blanket over my head, bro. I'm like, oh God, please God, like what, dude? It sounded like footsteps, bro.
Like in the attic or
no,
what?
no, not even the attic, like the roof or the corner of my bedroom because it's the corner of the house. Like you just hear footsteps, and I just put the blanket over my head, dude, and I'm like, was that the Lechusa or what, bro? Because it sounded big. I don't know, bro. Like it sounded like it landed, and then I just I'm like, okay, I'm done. Like, right?
Like, did you say a prayer?
I should have, but no, I
didn't.
Dude,
I've had some pretty scary nightmares.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have them very often, but I have had some. Like I'm not even talking about years ago, like recently, like maybe in the last year or two, and they're so scary. I wake up in the I live alone. I wake up in the middle of the night, and I swear, I'll say an Our Father and Hail Mary, I'll say it like 2 or 3 times, just to get that thought out of my head and so I can go back to sleep, bro.
Yeah, I
do believe. I mean, there are people who've been possessed by evil spirits. I do believe that's real. And I do believe in the power of the Catholic Church.
I never grew up Catholic, but like it's good to have like that comfort. But you were saying the power of the Catholic Church.
Well, the power of the Catholic Church, to exorcise demons from people is very real.
Oh yeah,
it's very real, and they can do it, and that's because the church has been around forever.
Yeah.
And not to say that the church is perfect,
right? I mean, none of us are,
but they have that power to exorcise evil spirits. Whenever I saw a documentary the other day about that couple. They're very famous.
The one for what from Insidious, right, Emilio? From Insidious, I think.
They're like an older
right?
God, I talk about them all the time. I'm just having a brain fart right now. But the husband was like a demonologist, and the wife was like a clairvoyant. So when people would have like poltergeists or hauntings,
they would call them.
And then the wife would be able to sense if
the
there was
presence.
Something evil in there. And they showed a show the other day. Like I remember I was watching cable, and it came out on an A&E or something like that, and there was a documentary on them, and it talked about some of their most popular cases. And there was a case where this family had moved into this big, beautiful house, but unbeknownst to them, the basement of the house used to be a mortuary. And that there was this, what happened? They found out that there was this demon that lived there.
Oh,
yeah,
shit.
And they experienced a lot of phenomena, like a lot.
Yeah.
And the couple, once they identified, like, yeah, this is real, they would try to get the church involved to come do an exorcism.
Yeah.
But the church doesn't just do that.
Yeah.
Like you have to gather up like all this evidence.
Okay.
And so they did. They videotaped like all kinds of crazy stuff.
Dude, fuck that.
And they took the evidence to the local church or the hierarchy of the church, and then they're like, yeah, this is legit. And so they had finally sent a priest down there to do the exorcism in the house. Yeah.
Damn, dude.
But see, when people are experiencing shit like that, or when people are in dire straits and something bad is happening, what do? They're going to call the church, or they start praying.
Yeah.
To God.
Yeah.
Please, God, help me.
Yeah.
Oh, now you believe in God. Yeah, because you really need him. People do that all the time.
Dude, so I won't say the name, but I have witnessed that where it's like, okay, you don't really believe in God, but like now you're worried about your son being sick, and now you're gonna call on God now.
Exactly.
What about before when he was doing good?
Exactly.
Like, come on, like I mean, nothing against everybody that has their own opinion about religion, dude. But it's like, how are you gonna go from no, I don't believe it, and then like, oh, please God, let's no,
right.
No,
right.
It just doesn't make any sense, man. But no, dude, I just wanted to bring that up, man, because I saw the sage, and then
well, I mean, I believe that people too. The sage is used to kind of ward off negative energy, right?
Yeah, like cleanse.
Yeah, it did cleanse, negative energy. So, man, I could tell you a story, and I don't know if I should, but I believe that there is people who have ill will towards you,
like ojo.
Yeah, like ojo. Or just have so much
anger towards you,
or hatred,
envy,
or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Negative energy that it can cross over to you. And I believe that some people, for whatever reason, and I don't understand it or know it, some people can transfer that negative energy. They have more power to transfer negative energy to you than other people do.
Dude, I'm so...
And like, for example, let me just really quick.
No, go ahead.
There was a person who I had a relationship with and was involved with, and then after the relationship was over, this person had a lot of hatred for me.
Oh, okay.
And when I would feel that negative energy,
you felt it.
I felt it, and I would feel sick.
Oof.
Like just sick, bro.
Yeah.
And let me tell you a story. This is absolutely true.
No, go ahead, man.
Absolutely truth.
It's talking material. Let's go. Come on. What you got?
I remember, I can't remember what year it was, but it was in the 2000s, like 2010 or 8, around there. I was with my crew, with two of my guys, a video guy and a camera guy. And we were at the Alamo City Music Hall, and we were going to interview Philip Anselmo. He was there with a Super Joint Ritual. And we were going to interview Phil Anselmo. So his manager said, hold on, Rob, he's not ready yet. So she goes, I'll text you when we're ready. I said, okay. So we were in my car, in my truck, drinking. And I felt an overwhelming presence of negative energy on me. And I felt really sick.
I believe it, dude.
And I was this close, bro. This close to saying, you know what, guys? My two guys were all excited about Phil Anselmo.
Yeah, you're like,
I was like, dude, I think I'm going to cancel and let's just go home because I don't feel good.
Good call.
And they were like, Rob, no, man, come on.
I was like, nah, no.
No, I did it. I stayed.
Oh, you did? Stay. You didn't leave?
No. So I stayed, and then we did the interview. We did the interview with Phil Anselmo, and somehow I made it through the interview.
Yeah.
But I remember right after we were done, I told my guys, hey, I'm getting out of here. I'm going home. And they were like, Rob, we're going to stay for the show. I'm like, yeah, dude, stay for the show.
Yeah, but I'm out.
Yeah, and I remember I went home, and I knew that negative energy was coming from that person.
Yeah.
Yeah, it stopped after a while.
Dude, you know what? Like, that's crazy that you say that because I believe in that too, man. And I'm glad that we're bringing it up. Like, obviously I believe in God, man. But like, when the church tries to tell you that it's just God and the devil, it's like, no, well, I believe it's negative energy too and positive energy. Like, people can have an effect on you, obviously. There is good and evil. There is yin and yang, man. you know. And when it comes to like manifestation and all that and feelings, like of course it does affect you, dude. You know, like I wouldn't consider myself like a medium or whatever, but I guess intuition, like you feel it, dude. You know.
Yeah.
You know when someone's got it out for you, or like when you feel bad energy or something, you just know. You know. But yeah.
But good will prevail.
Yeah, with metal, bro.
Yeah, dude.
Fucking Robb, man.
Good shall prevail.
No, dude, but
you know, that's the thing too, though. And this is something I've learned as I've gotten older, is that, you know, there's people out there. There are evil people out there.
Yeah, man.
And then the worst kind of evil people out there are the ones that hide it well. Okay.
Oh yeah.
I've realized, you know, and I'll tell you a quick story. And I could say this person's name, and people might know who he is. But there used to be a guy who was part of my inner circle. He was like my brother. He was in my inner circle. Like, if I was gonna have, you know, a UFC get together
or a barbecue or something, he was there.
He was there. He was part of my crew. He worked for me, and I considered him a brother. And I keep my circle, you know, small,
very small.
And to make a long story short, this guy kind of betrayed me, and he took some private conversations that the crew had and went out there and said stuff to these people.
Fuck, man.
And it's like, you know, why would you do that? Why would you do that?
Yeah.
And, you know, the only reason is just to hurt me, you know, just to hurt me for whatever reason. And that's bad, you know, and I thought he was my friend. And sometimes I see this dude out in the scene, and he tries to hug on me, and he says, "Robb, let me buy you a drink." I'm like, dude,
man.
I'm like, dude, get the fuck away from me. Just get away from me, bro. Yeah,
dude. Trust.
But there are people like that who do that, and for whatever reason, and that's horrible.
Dude, trust is a valuable thing, man. Like I've come to learn, like you said, as you get older, you understand, and you're able to read people because of the shit that they put you through already. Like, you just see the signs, man. For example, I'll keep the story short. My cousins, which I won't say their names, my cousins, dude, I was leaving my lawyer's office downtown, and I saw them down the street, and I was like, what the fuck? Like, so-and-so? Like, what are y'all doing? Oh, we're trying to hustle for food. I'm like, well, I got food in my house. Let's go. And they're like, all right. They'd hop in my car. Boom. Took them to my apartment. They ate all my food. all of my food, all of my snacks, all of my ice cream, everything. And like, I was going through a bad time. Like, me and my girlfriend broke up. I lost my job. Like, it was a lot of stuff. And then I was just like, okay, I'm just gonna party. I don't give a shit. I just want to party. Like, cause I'm depressed, whatever. I was like 21 and 22. And so, like, the day that I need to go back to work, I'm like, where can I drop it all off? It seemed like they wanted to linger around. I'm like, nah, I need to drop it all off, man. I gotta go to work. What the fuck you gonna do here? So, like, they're like, well, first of all, my cousin was like making an excuse. Oh no, we're gonna go with so and so. I'm like, okay, can you call her or something so she can pick you up? Oh no, can you just drop us down the street at the bus stop? I'm like, yeah, sure, I did. So I dropped them off, went to my dad's house, went back to my apartment. Dude, all my shit was gone. Like my PS3, my games, my movies, my studio microphone, my chain, like my watch, like a lot of stuff was gone, dude. And I think what happened was on a Saturday, one of my cousins asked to borrow my car. And I'm like, dude, I'm talking with the chick, whatever. I don't give a shit what you do. Go ahead. And I think what he did was he made a copy of my apartment key because there was no sign of break-in. There was no broken windows, nothing, dude. Like, I come back and it's all gone. And I made sure that none of it was gone before I dropped them off. That's like, horrible. I made sure everything was still there. I'm like, okay, everything's still here. Good. Let me go drop them off. I know it was them. But it's just people, they would do you wrong, dude, when you're just trying to do good and trying to help them out, man. You know what I mean? And, like, they have malintentions and shit. So, like, now that's why you keep your circle small. The older you get, dude, it's like, nah, man, you don't want to deal with that, dude.
Ask me how many friends I have on my personal Facebook page.
Oh, you have another one?
Oh, well, I have a Robert Chavez Facebook page, and then I have the Robb's Metalworks Facebook page.
Oh, yeah.
Ask me how many I have on the Robert Chavez Facebook page.
Probably like 40.
I have about 100. It fluctuates between 100 and 110.
Mm.
But all the people that are friends on Facebook, they're people I know, personally know.
Right.
Yeah. And I get lots of friend requests.
I know you do, man.
Especially from musicians. And I'm like, dude, Jaime can too. I don't know you, bro. Delete.
Nah, dude. Yeah, man. Trust is a hard thing to come by, dude. And
it's a hard commodity to come by these days.
Oh yeah, man. Definitely, dude. And I think it's really cool that like I feel like at least I hope so. I feel like we became, pretty good friends.
Yeah,
Like but then again it's just like you just notice the genuine what was the word, Emilio? What the fuck? Genuinity. There you go.
I don't know if that's it either.
I don't know if it is either, man, but we're just gonna go with it. Fuck it, dude.
The authenticity,
bro.
There you go.
There you go. What are the plans for future plans for Robb's Metalworks, man?
There you go. Honestly, like I mentioned earlier, next year is going to be a very pivotal year, and not only because of my age, but because I'm going to be hopefully transitioning professionally into a more demanding position.
Okay.
At work. And once I wrap up this degree, and sometimes I feel like it's time for me to move on from Robb's.
What?
Yeah.
Like to quit it?
Well, I wouldn't use the word quit. I would just, because
stand by
after someone's done it for 25 years. I don't think that that's the appropriate word. I think the word is just like, the best way to put it is just that my work is done. I'm completed with the work.
You're satisfied? Beyond satisfied?
I don't need to prove myself anymore in that arena.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess you're right.
I've already done it. Robb's Metalworks has become something that I had never ever dreamed of. And we've done so much. I don't know if you remember, but we used to do events, and the barbecue that we had back in September.
That was cool.
I used to do barbecues like that back in the late 90s with the musicians from that time.
Dude.
Yeah, that wasn't something new. We've done it. I've done it before, and that was the thing, like to create the brotherhood between us.
Yeah.
There were some people who didn't show up in September. And those people know who they are, and unless you were at work or in the fucking hospital, you should have fucking been there, because one of the things I tell all the bands, right, is that this business, this scene, it's about relationships.
It is.
In a
networking, connection, friendship.
A relationship is like a plant. You don't fucking water the plant, it's gonna die.
Yeah.
You don't fucking facilitate or try to nurture the relationship, it's gonna die.
It'll wither, man. Yeah, it'll wither.
And then I got messages from musicians who didn't get invited, and they were like, "What the fuck? Why, Robb? Why didn't you invite me?" I'm like, "Dude, I haven't heard from you in 2 years.
Yeah.
There's no relationship here, bro.
Yeah.
I know you.
Nothing personal.
I know you, but
nothing personal.
I haven't heard anything from you. You haven't sent me any new music.
Yeah.
You're not trying to, you're not trying to be a friend."
Yeah. Oh, you got a good point. Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
And you're asking why you didn't get invited to the barbecue? Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just because you're part of the scene doesn't mean,
everybody's part of the scene.
Well, that's
can't be
thing.
singled out, Yeah. Dude.
So, it's all about relationships at this point.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. So, people need to understand that. And if you don't understand that, then you're not going to go very far.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what it is, man. Yeah. Well, Robb, thank you so much. Thank you. Like, literally, thank you so much for taking time out of your night I know you had a big banquet to go to and like fancy dinner at Fogo de Chao. Like, I'm sorry.
I'm eating somewhere. I'm fucking starving.
But I want to thank you so much for coming through, man, for being part of Talking with Turo.
Yeah.
It's going to be a sweet-ass episode, dude, especially because you've built your legacy over the years, man, and you've made your mark in San Antonio. But one thing that I did say in the promo was that not just local, national.
Yeah,
Dude, national, bro. Like, they know your name. In California, they know your name.
Oh, yeah.
New York, they know your name.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, in
Jersey.
fucking Jersey. Like in Jersey. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, in the UK, it's talking about Robb's Metalworks.
Oh,
you know
yeah.
mine. Like,
Oh, yeah. We interviewed, I don't know if you, this is an area where I kind of stepped out of the metal, but we did an interview with Rodrigo and Gabriela. You know who that is?
that sounds familiar. Are they acoustic guitar
Yeah,
players?
acoustic
I've seen them. Yeah.
From
I see 'em-
Mexico.
Yeah, I see them.
Yeah, we interviewed him. That was the last interview I did before the pandemic. And we did that at the Majestic Theater. Yeah, Majestic Theater. And they were really cool. And their record company...
Wow, Majestic Theater? Nice.
Yes, their record company is from Ireland. So I was on the this guy from Ireland was calling me like at 10 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock at night, and we were setting it up. And I was telling him, hey man, what time is it over there? He goes, oh, it's 1 o'clock, mate.
1 o'clock, mate.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's halfway around the world contacting me.
Cogni.
From Ireland. Yeah, the record labels from
The
Ireland.
Irishman. That's
Yeah,
cool,
dude.
dude. Well, hey man, let's
And hopefully next year for 2021, hopefully, we don't know, but if things go back to normal and all these national bands start touring again, then, my plan is to focus on national bands next year. Yeah, bring national artists back to Robb's Metalworks.
Well, for the record, I do want to say thank you for letting Marilla Vote be a part of Robb's Metalworks. That was sweet. I apologize for everybody that I was drunk as fuck.
Shit, you were nothing compared to Roy.
We don't know who Roy is. But all right, man. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
All right, brother.
Okay. No, but I can edit it. We don't have to start with anything or whatever.
Okay. We ready?
Yeah, no, we're recording right now.
Okay. Arturo, thank you so much, dude, for having me on your show. And I was eager, despite the fact that I procrastinated in getting you a date for this.
Hey, it's all good, man.
I was excited about coming on here because I knew that we would have good conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's cool that you're doing this Talking with Turo thingy.
I like that, man. Thank you.
I wish you all the success, and I want you to keep working hard. And like I said, if you ever want to talk to me about anything, I'm always here for you.
Definitely, man.
So to kind of commemorate me being here on your show, I brought you a small gift.
I'm excited to see what is this. What is this?
Here it is.
Emilio, get this on camera, Emilio. What is this?
I wrapped it for you. Go ahead and just rip it open. You're not going to break it. But it's a small token, and hopefully you can put it up here in your studio. And when you see it, I hope that you will remember.
I won't remember.
Remember me.
Remember me.
Remember this evening, and remember thrash metal.
Dude, look at that. Look at that, bro. What the fuck? That's so sick, man. You're awesome, man. Thank you so much.
That is a very vintage picture of Metallica from 1984.
And not everyone has this.
No, that's like Ride the Lightning.
This is gonna...
Ride the Lightning era, and very cool picture.
Man.
When that picture right there epitomizes fucking thrash metal in the 80s.
Dude.
That's what it does.
Dude, my dad's gonna love this, dude. Wait. Hold on.
Don't give it to him.
Who's this signed by? No, I won't give it to him.
I signed it to you, and I said, "Did you read what I wrote?"
Oh man, to Art, you are the greatest Mexican person that is very Mexican ever. I wish you success on Talking with Turo.
I wanted to bring you something tangible that you can have, hold it and feel it and look at it, and remember tonight, and remember the passion that Robb's Metalworks has for heavy metal.
Dude, one thing that I feel about this is when I look at this, I just feel like passion in general, like what you're doing, what Marilla Vo is doing, what everybody else is doing, like whatever not critique, but whatever artistic value that they have, dude, it can go to distance.
Yeah, dude. Back then, Metallica wasn't shit.
Wait, do you have another coaster though? Because I drink a lot. So like, can you give me another one?
Those are actually, bro. That coaster, I actually had to pull it off of my refrigerator.
Oh,
Yeah,
what? Just for me, dude?
Just for you. There's no more
What?
of those. There's no more of those. I think there's one hanging in the Metalworks room.
I'm gonna cry, dude. Can you cut the cameras? I'm gonna cry, dude. Like, can you? No. Oh man, I appreciate it, dude.
You're welcome, bro.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Well, it's good to have you on the show, man.
Yeah.
I need you to come back again so we can talk some more.
Alrighty. Next year.
Yes, sir.